not just start today. It didn't just start with the 2020 debates. No. The arc that we are on, this arc of justice, started that day after that dark inauguration. That day when I sat on that stage between Bernie and John McCain. And John McCain kept reciting to me names of dictators during that speech because he knew more than any of us what we were facing as a nation. He understood it. He knew because he knew this man more than any of us did.
Wow, what a fascinating story.
No, it is, Mika. I mean, and again, it's good to get that read on John McCain. I got the same read from him when I talked to you about when I went to the office, and great insight. The insight a little different, Elise Jordan, from George W. Bush's timeless review of the speech, which still remains my favorite, and is why. Let me tell you, though I was very critical of his policy on most fronts. There are so many reasons to love George W. and his review of Trump's carnage speech was at the top. But how important, though, to hear John McCain again correctly predicting that this guy had autocratic instincts.
Well, it goes with everything that we know of John McCain's history and legacy, and of his strong opposition to any autocrat, and his belief in the importance of human freedom. And so to hear those comments, it's not surprising at all. What's still surprising to me is that so many other Republicans and Democrats have learned the same lessons, and yet, I'm not blaming Democrats here, but you look at Republicans who previously were so supportive of, say, the Bush administration's freedom agenda, and now they will just blindly accept whatever dear leader tells them to go down.
It's an interesting story from Senator Klobuchar, but not a surprising one, perhaps, given that we know John McCain was critical of the president from the very moment he got in the race, and years before that, in fact. And a critical moment in the political rise of Donald Trump came in 2015 when he first attacked John McCain as saying he was not a war hero because he got captured, and surviving that, which was a huge canary, perhaps, that told us Donald Trump could survive a lot.
Not only survived it, but rose.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think more people were. It was the first moment when people thought something's going on with Donald Trump, because the entire political class, from left to right, thought you can't attack John McCain. There's no way that's survivable. And in fact, not only does Trump survive, but rises. I think the reality is that McCain had Trump's number all along and saw him with clarity. Certainly there was personal animus there between the two of them, but he also saw him with clarity throughout the entire time he ran for president. And just look at those pictures, it does raise the question once again, the question that has persistently bedeviled people at this table and other tables, which is what has happened to Lindsey Graham, someone who, on almost everything else, he and John McCain were side by side throughout their careers. They saw the world almost entirely the same. They saw people almost entirely the same. They saw Donald Trump exactly the same, up until the moment that Donald Trump assumed the Oval Office, and all of a sudden then Lindsey Graham became a different person. I mentioned it just because you see so many of these file photos have pictures of McCain and Lindsey Graham together, and it again, I mean, Senator McCain has departed this mortal coil, but Lindsey Graham is still with us, and the mystery, when you have these moments, you're reminded of McCain's clarity. It just raises the question of what the hell happened to Lindsey.
Sadly, it's not really a mystery. Lindsey Graham has a Republican primary in 2020. He was having trouble in the state of South Carolina, and recent polls show that among Republican senators, he has one of the better approval ratings with the rank and file in the Republican Party in the state of South Carolina. He basically sold his soul and sold his political soul for 20 percentage points inside his own Republican Party. I guess, unlike John McCain, Lindsey Graham didn't have the confidence and the assurance in his voters that he could speak truth to power and still get reelected in the state.
And he's certainly not alone. And Republicans, when you say, why haven't they spoken out in these moments? They say, well, because they like their jobs and they want to keep their jobs and they're worried about getting reelected in their home state. So I think, even in this Joe Biden story out in Japan over the weekend, a very limited number of Republicans came out. Adam Kinzinger did, Peter King did. There were some others who came out and said, wait a minute now. Okay, I support the president on some things, but you're not attacking Joe Biden in favor of Kim Jong-un on foreign soil. So, again, Republicans not speaking out and Lindsey Graham leading the charge. Meanwhile, Joe, this is interesting, and Richard, want to get your take on this.
I just can say really quickly, Willie, though, you can go back time and again. And I already talked about, I skewered Harry Reid for 5 years for criticizing George Bush when he was on foreign soil. You can go back and find one example after another example after another example of Republicans attacking the press, Republicans attacking Democrats for being critical of George W. Bush and other presidents when they were on foreign soil. Once again, of course, the hypocrisy is just staggering.
Yeah, we didn't see much of it over the weekend. Meanwhile,
thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.